Things are lining up for Eagles receiver DeVonta Smith to not only take a step forward, but potentially reach superstardom in 2026. The Eagles just traded A.J. Brown, something I did not think was going to happen this offseason. Smith becomes maybe the ultimate league winner in 2026 fantasy football drafts, with a chance to show everyone just how great he is. We like to focus on the film and the talent. That's where DeVonta certainly shines. But let's start with the numbers because they're more promising now too. Some might argue Brown leaving puts more pressure on Smith. There are plenty of pieces in the Philly offense though, and Smith is too talented to just be taken out of games every week. Let's start with the numbers. First, it's obvious the targets. Aside from 2024 when he played just 13 games, Brown has easily hit well over 100 targets in each season with the Eagles. The target totals were 145, 158, the 97 2 years ago, and 121 last year. The offense is now different with Sean Mannion as the offensive coordinator, which we'll get to in a minute. But we already know the targets in this offense, they're going to change, and likely to the benefit of Smith. The average draft position for Smith is around the wide receiver 15. Rankings are the same, maybe even lower some places. If it sticks around there, he'll be almost impossible to pass on in around the 4th round of fantasy drafts, as that's arguably his floor. Like Brown, Smith also missed a few games in 2024. He still had 833 yards, 8 touchdowns, a career high. Aside from that, as a rookie, 916 yards. And then his other 3 seasons, 1,196 yards, 1,066 yards, and 1,008 yards last year. And I'd say around there, like 1,100 receiving yards, several touchdowns, is probably around his floor now, if healthy. But there's upside for way more than that. If you look at games the past 2 seasons that Brown missed, taking out 2 of them because he left early against the Bucs in 2024, and in the season finale last season, had 3 catches for 52 yards. Jalen Hurts wasn't in the lineup, had Tanner McKee at quarterback, and he promptly hit him for 52 yards very quickly to get him over the 1,000-yard mark. It was a very comfortable and effortless outing where he showed off the skill level to get there. The other 3 games where he played the full game without Brown in 2024 and 2025 were 7 catches for 76 yards and a touchdown, 7 catches for 79 yards, and 6 catches for 84 yards. Pretty small sample size, but we could see production like that more consistently with Smith as the clear top target in Philadelphia. The 17-game pace for those numbers would be around 113 catches, 1,350 receiving yards, and there's untapped touchdown upside too. That'd be right in that range of that top 6 fantasy receivers mentioned in last week's episode of Jamar Chase, JSN, Puka Nacua, CeeDee Lamb, Justin Jefferson, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. You might be able to get those type of numbers at a much cheaper price. JSN was earlier in his career's 3rd season last year on his way to Offensive Player of the Year, and hitting those marks would be something, but Smith does have that type of talent, and it reminds me a little bit of that situation. DK Metcalf left Seattle. Metcalf, certainly a very talented player. In terms of numbers, Brown has had a higher ceiling, though, throughout his career. That said, Seattle was a team with arguably 2 number 1 receivers. Same case since Brown's been there. And now, like with JSN last season, a lot is on Smith's shoulders, and I think he's ready for that challenge. The Eagles think he's ready for that challenge. They always speak highly of him. Goes about his business, is extremely tough for being such a slight guy in terms of build. And let's not forget this guy won the Heisman Trophy in 2020 with Alabama as a receiver. He had 117 catches, 1,856 yards, and 23 touchdowns that year, with a Tide winning the national championship. This is a supremely talented player. In other situations, if he was getting maybe 140, 150 targets in a season, he has the ability to have been putting up elite receiver numbers. He has the route running ability, wins on all levels, can be and probably will be used on screens more. Despite being slighter in terms of weight, he's excellent at the catch point, including on high point balls. He's had a ton of plays down the field and in jump ball situations and just going up for it. And I mentioned Mannion being the offensive coordinator now. He should bring in the type of system that'll help a receiver like Smith put up huge numbers. Expect him to be used a lot more creatively, and frankly, the Brown situation, a little odd how it's ended. Such a talented player, and they just couldn't make things work for whatever reason. I think the Eagles as an organization, I think Hurts potentially, Smith himself taking on the larger load, I think they're going to want to show what type of player he is in 2026. He has good chemistry with Hurts. The volume is going to increase now. The talent I could go on and on about. He's someone in fantasy football whose average draft position might be rising a lot this summer. If not, you're getting one of the league's most underrated talents at receiver at a major discount, likely at his floor, with upside for much more. Those projections we went over in last week's video, they actually have Smith as the wide receiver 7 behind only that top 6. So we've got him there much higher than where he's going, much higher than where he's ranked, and the sky's the limit for him, the Eagles, and your fantasy team. So what do you think? With A.J. Brown likely gone, do you see Smith breaking into that elite tier in 2026? Let us know in the comments, and thank you for watching.